Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. And in this series, we're going to be going over Mercury in the houses, okay? Mercury in the houses. And in this episode, we're going to be talking about Mercury in the 7th house, okay? Mercury in the 7th house. And the first thing to understand with Mercury in the 7th house is first, Mercury, the planet Mercury is the ruler of the mind, okay? In astrology, Mercury rules systems, logic, function, operations, the way our world operates on a logical level, okay? This is understanding mathematics, this is reading, writing, this is logic, using your mind. This is also communicating, okay? Mercury rules all of this. When you see in our world how we communicate, how we justify, make logic of things, how we create formulas, technology, all of this is ran by Mercury. It is like the planet of mind, of logic. And then you put it in the 7th house, okay, this mind, logic, and communicating planet in the 7th house. The 7th house deals with other people, relationships, okay? This is like things that mirror you. These are other people, the relationships you create with other people and ideas, okay? So the first thing I have to say with Mercury in the 7th house, people, is that they are definitely very much social butterflies. And probably Mercury is the most, probably this and Mercury in the 11th house as well too, probably the most, because anytime Mercury is in an air sign, you're definitely going to get a lot of social energy, okay? Because again, air houses deals with society, it deals with communication, connecting with other people socially. So you put Mercury, the planet of communication and all this networking, you put it in a house of relationships, okay? Your mind is going to be on relationships. It's going to be on your partnerships and the relationships that you make, okay? So you're going to be very active in this lifetime, and this makes you a very communicative person. A person who's very social, likes to connect to other people, okay? Because again, we're talking about Mercury, the planet of communication, and then into the house of connecting with other people, making relationships. So very much social butterflies. These people make lots of friends, lots of connections. These people can have lots of friends, make lots of relationships, know lots of people, because you know, their mind is on these relationships and they're communicating. So, you know, this is really like a social butterfly placement. And on top of that, being that way, it's not only that they're socializing and connecting with other people, they do it in a very flattering way, okay? When it comes to the 7th house, it's not just logic and communication like the 3rd house or even the 11th house, but it is logic and communication in the most balanced way, because we're talking about balancing. The 7th house is ruled by Libra. It's all about balance, okay? The scales. It's all about relationships, yin and yang. How do we balance these relationships, okay? Relationships is who am I to you? Who are you to me? It's how we balance each other out. So if your mind is in this house of balance, when you're communicating, you're always going to be very balanced, okay? This is going to be the house of relationships. You're focused on the other person. So when you're communicating, you are conscious and aware of the other person and their needs. And how does this work? And how does this balance? So basically what I'm saying is that with Mercury in the 7th house, not only are they very communicative and social, just like Mercury in the 3rd house or Mercury in the 11th house, but they do it in such a flattering way. I would say this is the most flattering communication that Mercury can be in, okay? Because you're talking about the 7th house. This is about relationships. This is about balance. This is about fair communication, justice in communication, balancing, seeing what the other person needs in order to make this communication work, okay? Again, the 7th house is about other people, other relationships towards you, other people. So these people, 7th house people naturally are focused on other people. So when you put your mind here, this intelligent planet of Mercury, you know, you are just perfect at selling anyone anything because you're so flattering. You're so great with communication because you are aware of what that other person needs, okay? This is a perfect placement for being a salesperson, okay? Because what is the important part about being a salesperson? It's about communicating, okay, which is the seventh house and Mercury, but it's also about communicating what the other person needs. And when your Mercury is in the seventh house, your communication is focused on other people. The seventh house deals with other people, the relationships, the one-on-one, the other person. So your mind is on that other person. You're going to sell them what they want, what their mind is focused on, what they need. So again, Mercury in seventh house people are perfect communicators because they're so balanced, because they are focused on what the other person needs. Okay, they're focusing on the people. They're like people pleasers. Okay, perfect salesperson, because in order to communicate well with someone, you also have to balance it by understanding what their energy is, what they need in the communication. They are the most flattering communicators, and that adds an extra, beauty and niceness and spaz to your communication, because you truly cater to other people and you give them what they want. So definitely a people's pleaser when it comes to Mercury in the seventh house, because your mind is on the other person. Another thing with Mercury in the seventh house is that they can also worry, have their mind on other people and what they think of them a lot. Okay, again, Mercury is about your mental activity. What is your mentality? And being in the seventh house, your mentality is on other people. So you're also not just thinking for other people, but thinking about what other people think about you. Okay, it's a mirror. All right, this is a relationship, so it goes forward and it goes back as well too. So it's not that just Mercury in seventh house people understand how to communicate for other people and create the perfect balance, but they're also concerned about what is that person thinking about me. Okay, so this could be a placement where people really are thinking like, what did that person say about me, or what do they think about me? Just very concerned about what is other people talking about them and what do they think about them. And again, Mercury is a communicator, so people can really talk a lot about you. It can be positive or negative, but again, like, this is like a mirror. What you give is what you get. And so with Mercury in seventh house, you're very social. You're talking to a lot of people and you talk a lot about other people. So people are going to be talking a lot about you. So if you put yourself out there, be expected to be talked about. And if you're, putting lots of thoughts and talking about other people, expect that other people are talking a lot about you too. So a lot of times Mercury in seventh house people can kind of have that, like, oh, I wonder what they think about me, or, do they think I'm good, or, how is it balancing on the other end, basically. So be careful about that, because people are going to think regardless, Mercury in seventh house people. So this could be it could become an issue, because Mercury is very like antsy and nervous energy. So you can kind of get a little paranoid, worrying too much about what other people think about you. And it could also help if you stop talking about other people. Also, Mercury in the seventh house people, I would say, could make great lawyers. Not that because you're Mercury in the seventh house, you have to become a lawyer. It's not that simple. But what I'm saying is that Mercury in the seventh house people are such balanced communicators, okay? Seventh house is the house of justice. You have to understand, seventh house is ruled by Libra. So we're talking about balance here. When you look at the justice law system, it's like the scales. It's a balance, because in order for us to reach justice, we have to balance each side, okay? Instead of choosing a side to find out what's the truth and what's truly justice, we have to balance both sides of the story to get the fair middle, to get the even, okay? So when you're putting Mercury here, Mercury is how you communicate. You communicate in a very justful way because you're constantly balancing, okay? You use a lot of logic here. This is a very logical placement, okay? Because again, balancing ideas, okay, is all logic. That's how logic is based off of justification. The way we get justice is through logic, making things make sense, making things fair. Seventh house is all about fairness, balancing energies, the yin and yang. So when your mind is on here, you are kind of really good at balancing ideas and making sure they're fair. Seeing what each role played, each side of the puzzle played, each side of the coin. you're great at balancing those on a logical level, because Mercury is logic and you're putting it in the house of balance. So this is very balanced logic, and balanced logic is justice, because this is how you get a fair result, by balancing each side, seeing what each pro and con, not just sticking to one and being biased. That's how you get biased. So again, Mercury in 7th house people, they're going to look at both sides. They are about the scales. They're balancing this. And when you put Mercury here, which is your mind, your logic, being able to analyze, look at details, these people are so good at getting justice, because they're looking at the details and they're balancing them at the same time to making sure that it's fair. So it's just a great placement for like communicating justice and figuring it out and thinking it out. And that's like what lawyers do. So not that you have to be a lawyer if you have this placement, but what I'm saying is that you have that gift of analyzing something and getting the truth and the fairness out of it, because you're so balanced mentally. Okay. And when we have a balanced mind, that's how we can make the right decisions, the logical decisions, and the just decisions, decisions that really are just and are right, because each side is balanced. All right. Oh yeah, that is Mercury in the 7th house. Yes, very just social butterflies, justice people, very smart, very logical, very balanced. I mean, these people's mentalities are very fair, very just, very logical. And not only that, they're just very flattering people. I mean, just great communication, balanced communication, truly understand how to mediate and make things fair for other people mentally. So it's a great placement, great social butterfly, very positive energy. So hope you guys enjoyed that. That's Mercury in the 7th house. And if you did book a reading with me, I do astrology readings, natal chart readings. All you have to do is email me and we could go further with that. And also check out my music on Spotify, Apple, and here on YouTube. I have all the links in the description box below. And I'll check you guys out on the next episode.
Remember when they all used to test you? Remember when it all didn't impress you? So felt lost, never left you. I'm just being me. Went off all alone just to let loose. Laid off on the grind.